What's up? What's up? Welcome to another episode of the Big Classic Podcast with my man Walter Sellers, me, Fred Biggie Smalls, and special guest this week, Paul Norris.
Gotta love it.
We are, yes, the Gotta Love It King right here. Always bringing the positive energy. Always.
Got my Fred Biggie Smalls shirt on though.
Oh yeah, I feel honored. So, you know, this is another great week of shows in the IFBB.
Definitely.
And our man Samson cleaned up and took them all.
Took all of them. 2 weeks in a row, 3 weeks in a row, 2 weeks in a row, yeah.
Yeah, no doubt. So, you know, obviously, third best bodybuilder in the world. Do you feel like he was better at these shows, or do you feel like...
This one just now, he's better than Olympia. They changed his approach.
What they do different, you think?
I don't think I know. He was way drier. He was way sharper at this. So I guess the first one was Romania, just on the Prague show. So the Prague show, he was just way drier. You can see a lot more detail, especially on that side shot on his quad sweep. That hamstring drop he got. And he was against some of the best legs in the game with Neckzilla coming out of went amateur the next day. I'm doing a pro show and came in third, beat Nathan Diasha.
Yeah, Neckzilla, well, like Nation Diasha, Neckzilla, what's his real name? I don't even feel comfortable calling him that. But Neckzilla, his frame is not perfect.
No.
So he's just truly massed out to the max, right? But his arms don't necessarily match. So he has a little bit of weakness there.
Rubio Mosquera.
Rubio, I mean, the kid's got a crazy future. Do you know how old he is?
26.
20, yeah, I was going to say late 20s.
Yeah, he has so much time
He's the right coach.
before he hits his peak. Yeah,
He's the right coach. He's going to be dangerous.
Well, Chris Cormier's coaching him now? Is that
Only some of the stuff, Not with the major stuff, but just the past.
And where's he from?
South Brazil.
Brazil.
He's Brazilian.
Okay. All right. Yeah, he was impressive, man.
The Brazilians have a contingent at the Olympia this year.
I know his legs are just stupid.
It's an understatement of the century.
And for them to get in that kind of condition. Yeah. Do you think his legs are bigger than Carlos's legs?
Yes. And Rami's.
Because he's taller.
Really?
Yes.
He's taller.
And Rami's.
Okay.
He's just got a better shape than
And a better shape than Rami.
Yeah.
You think he has a better shape?
Oh my God,
His legs have a better shape.
He has a better overall picture than Rami, bro.
Man. His upper
Rami's
body.
a block in the middle. This guy's actually a VT.
Rami fits. He doesn't fit yet. He's on his way. He's got
His
some
upper
time.
body is behind.
I mean, because his legs are so
His legs are so damn big.
you know?
True. But we're talking about today. We're not talking about...
Well, we don't know what Rami looks like right now, do we?
Yes, we do.
No, we don't.
I mean, we know what he's been.
That was before.
So you honestly think this guy's going to be a Mr. Olympia one day?
I think that
No.
I think that right now is the most competitive it's been in a very long time.
I think
it's wide open.
Yeah, I mean, I think, so you don't think Derek can hold
No.
on to it? Yeah.
You know why? You know why I think. I'm a believer. Samson
Believer in
Andrew.
what?
Samson Andrew are coming, bro. Samson and Andrew, I think, will be 1-2, just like Kai and Phil Heath.
So what was Samson missing at the Olympia?
Conditioning, and
conditioning.
his back needs a little more.
Agreed.
I believe his back
But
needs
I was rooting for Samson the whole time. I mean, he was my number one pick for the whole time. You know, I think that his physique was so different, and that's why he didn't. In my opinion, that's why he didn't win. Right?
Apples, oranges.
Right, because if Samson wins, that means Andrew's got to be number 2 or number 3. It changes the whole. You can't like Derek. You can't put two 212 guys.
Well, Samson's a much more developed bodybuilder at this point than Andrew Jack.
Sure, absolutely.
Like Andrew Jack has a lot of holes in his physique. His silhouette is beautiful.
He needs time.
Got great legs, but he needs time. He still needs time, right? So, and honestly, we don't know what that would have looked like if they brought him in as peeled with even 3 more pounds of muscle than he had at the Arnold. But as peeled as he was at the Arnold, he would have exposed Hadi's conditioning from the back and exposed Derek's conditioning from the front because he was absolutely sliced. Chris had him so peeled at the Arnold. So I think that was just a lack of judgment call because I think if he's harder and with this added three pounds of muscle, now you don't know what you're going to see in comparison. But immediately he was discounted because he didn't carry the conditioning those guys came, and he didn't outmass anybody.
Right.
So immediately, you're not quite as hard as Sampson was, and you're not outmassing Hottie, so you're out.
Right.
Right. So I think they definitely overplayed the shape card in that sense, because you didn't outshape Derek. Derek's shape's beautiful. So now where do you that's why
you fit.
Again, fifth is still great. Jumping up from what, ninth the year before?
Yeah.
Right. So hey, he
It's
improved.
a big deal.
Sorry.
We're watching Eagles game now. Sorry. Picked off in the end zone.
I'm focused over here and shit.
Right? Yeah. So I think at least for me, I mean, obviously I'm not as seasoned as you guys in the sport, right? I think that this season is going to change a lot, because I think that Derek is not going to retain it. I do not think he's going to retain it, because even the judges said this year, we do not subscribe to the you got to knock the champ out, because there's no reason to me that you can't give it to Derek and not give it to
Here's why
Sampson.
Derek's scary. Because his legs will be bigger next year. And his upper body will be more conditioned.
And so will everybody else.
Necessarily.
No. I don't think Sampson's legs need to be any bigger. Derek's can be bigger because you saw how slight they
brought him up.
They brought him up dramatically, but he was still behind Hottie and Sampson, right? Mm-hmm. I don't see that being the same issue next year. My issue is Sampson has to fill that back out, so that when Derek turns around, he's not, because Derek is dicing everybody on that back double bicep.
So let's look at the rest of the field, right? Obviously Nick wasn't there.
Now here's what I'm saying.
I think
I don't see.
I look at what is going to be on stage and the direction that every other division is looking at.
Here's
right?
why I think Nick's scary. He's going to make, in certain shots, everyone else
look fat,
look smaller, and he's going to outcondition the guys that are your shape guys, right? Like with more mass than Derek and Hottie.
He had a different look this year too.
Right. So like this year, when I was looking, his waist was small as shit.
Mm-hmm. He had a different look.
And his back double bicep, his front double bicep, like those shots, like the arm poses, nobody's beating him in that. Like Sampson took those shots away from Hottie and Derek. Mm-hmm. So sure, you can give one Derek, one to Hottie, but it didn't matter because Sampson won the side poses. To me, you can argue that maybe Derek wins that side chest, but to me, nobody had Sampson even close in the side tricep shot. Nick's going to win that shot, right? And so you're just like, what do they say? Addition by subtraction. You know what I mean? Like, so you took those poses away from them. So now they're just really looking at front and back. Hottie had front, Derek had back, but Derek had it so slam dunk in the back. It's like, that's Mr. Olympia, right? So now you go into next year, if Sampson can fill out that back and come in condition he was in his last show, I'll give it to you. Going to be hard to beat. Hard to beat. But
there's a lot of other people. I look at the whole field. There's so many other people coming.
I don't see Crizzo being anything special.
I don't think Crizzo is going to be more than the top 5.
I don't think he's getting there. I think he's going to be a top 10 guy for a long time.
There's other people too, though, right? There's also Quentin Beatswood's coming. Monster.
Yeah.
You don't like him.
I'm not saying I don't like him because I trained with him. I think he's a great guy. I'm
and the other dudes.
Think we need a couple. He's very young.
Yeah.
Which means when black guys are younger, that maturity takes a little longer. Disadvantage, and the lighting is a disadvantage for Sampson.
Absolutely.
Right? The Olympia's got to address that because him being that dark completely made him look softer than he was.
Yep.
Right. So, because you can see him in these other shows.
Yep.
Other shows have the regular, normal lighting.
You can see his striations through everything.
You see everything, absolutely. So
that changes too, for sure.
And Milo's made a great observation. Because Flex Wheeler was never known for having glutes, but all those cords in those hamstrings were there.
Yes, they were.
And that back double bicep was sick.
It was.
Sampson had more cords than Hottie or Derek in his hamstrings. So it's just a matter of that wow factor. who has the wow factor, right?
Sure.
And Derek was the only one that had the wow factor from the back. Everybody else was like, everybody else is good. He's the only one that said, well, that's different than everybody else, you know?
You always say what, the Mr. Olympia's won and lost in the back.
Yeah,
I don't know if it's been that way for the last, but I mean, you think about all the great,
Big Rami
Great.
back.
I mean, Sean.
Great, I said.
Sean
He ran it twice.
great means more than four. Or four or more.
Well,
I would go 4 or more.
Okay.
Great.
do you think
Arnold's back wasn't that great.
Where do you think
Arnold's
Jay
back wasn't that great
Compare everybody else, it was.
Where do you think Jay won it from? I don't think it was from the back.
I think
won-
Jay came in the right time for the mass and the conditioning.
Like, so the first year he won it, he beat up he beat on a downgraded Ronnie
Coleman.
Yeah.
Aging Ronnie Coleman.
Ronnie Coleman was huge, but you could already start to see the nerve damage, right?
Yeah.
So Jay just looked fresher. The second year he beat Victor Martinez, which he shouldn't have, right? We know he shouldn't have.
He got hurt.
Happened to no, that's right. Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
1-2, got hurt. Dexter won, and then he came back and won 2 more.
Right, so who got hurt?
Jay Cutler was out.
No, he didn't get hurt.
He blew his bicep, but he still.
That was
won
the
it.
last one. That was the one he lost to Phil. When he lost to Dexter, there's nothing wrong with
He
it.
didn't lose to Dexter. He didn't compete.
Yeah, he
with
did
Dexter.
lost the Dexter.
He lost Dexter?
Yeah, he got
Dexter lost.
second. Yeah.
Oh wait, wasn't it?
Yep. Oh, yeah.
I thought he
Dexter won
was
that.
out for that year.
But I think that was
took it.
about. See, this is where the narrative of back then, where the magazines control a lot of it,
Mhm.
because they were already starting to move away from Jay, right? Weeder wasn't with Jay anymore.
There was a lot of stuff going on. There
Yeah,
was.
so it's one of those things where Dexter was clearly better, but Dexter was that good in 03 he could have been second. If you go back and look at the tape, 06 he could have been higher. You know what I mean? Like Dexter was already starting to look really good,
Right.
and he just wasn't getting the spot because everybody was building it up. Jay and Phil, Jay and Ronnie, right? So when you look at it from that perspective, that year he won. Everybody knew he was going to win. He won the Arnold, and everybody just knew he was winning that year. Because everybody was kind of tired of Jay being big and not quite as hard.
Right.
Then he comes back after Honey got him.
And got that quad
Jay
stomp.
was walking shredded.
Right.
And it's not his back, it was his legs. Legs,
He
bro.
did a stomp pose.
That quad stomp.
Yep.
Just that overall look, man, was just crazy back then. Crazy. Like, so when people talk about the 90s, right? Versus now. Or we're not going to say the 90s. So like, let's just talk about, let's talk about 98 on. I don't know why they say the 90s, because it's not really the 90s. It's like Ronnie Coleman's era. Because
You don't think Dorian's era?
I think Dorian was great twice. 2004, he should have lost. Not 94, he should have lost. 96, I thought Nasser had him,
I agree.
right? 97, I think he won. But Kevin was real close. Kevin was real close.
Kevin took second?
Yep.
Yep.
I mean, 95, so you talk about
With a
Dorian
blown
probably had,
bicep.
Dorian probably had 93 and 95. Clear. Nobody was touching him. In 94, Sean Ray had his ass beat all day because he was up there with a torn bicep. Sean Ray had him all day.
Yeah, how do you beat perfect bodybuilders with
You
a
don't.
flawed arm? One
Again.
arm. You can't.
That's like I was talking to bodybuilder. I was helping a guy pose the other day, and his girl had just taken 6th at the Legion, right?
Okay.
She looked phenomenal. She was talking about, it's not like it was back then, blah blah blah, and all this other stuff, right? And I'm like, it's better now, because back then magazines controlled the entire narrative of everything. Like for me personally, the magazines were pushing Juan Morel and I can't remember his name now. I'm sorry, brother. He took 3rd that year in the 2010 Nationals, and they were pushing somebody else. They weren't even looking at me. I got no press going into that show. I had all the press going into 2009, and we messed that up, right? 2009, everybody just knew I was going to turn pro in 2009, going into the USA. Nobody else was a big name in it.
That's right.
And they were pushing me, and then me and my coach at the time tried this dumbass protocol that had me watery as shit on stage. And I kept telling him, this ain't gonna work. And he was like, oh, it's gonna work, it's gonna be great, brother. This is all the new things. You don't have to cut water like that. Like, that doesn't work for me, not this way. But either way, that's neither here nor there. But we messed it up. So going into the Nationals, nobody was talking about me. Who's nobody? The magazines controlled everything. If you weren't talked about in the magazines, you weren't talked about. and MD had a small presence online, starting to develop that online presence.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, we're gonna get to that. They created that in the trenches, right?
Yep.
So they would come out and film you, and you would put your stuff. All the stuff we're doing on our own now on Instagram, Facebook, not Instagram, Instagram and TikTok. They were trying to do. They had to do it for us because there was no platform like that. And yeah, it was absolutely why it's so much better now, because it's hard to blind the public now. The fans know what's going on, right? Because they ain't waiting for a magazine to bring out what happened and results 3 months later.
Right. Now.
Where they take everything you said. If you weren't at the show, you take everything they said in the magazine as, oh my God, this is what it is.
Right.
Right? Like, do we really know that there was nobody else that was good beyond the top 6? We don't know because they didn't cover them. You know, now the guy who got 10th goes, man, I got shafted, can put his shit up online and everybody go, damn, maybe you did get shafted.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. So I love what the time the bodybuilding's in now.
I like it because, like you said, it's access. It's you can see everybody go there for weeks and weeks and weeks.
Yeah.
Up until the show.
Like Sam Sulek, he's a fucking star now, right? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Sam Sulek took second at the New York Pro, right? Young kid, 21 years old, maybe 22 now.
I think I had that one.
Oh,
Sam with the hair.
Yes.
Gotcha.
The crazy hair.
Now he's doing
Stu.
crazy. Stu. Yeah. He's doing crazy shit online. You know, drinking like tons of like what do you drink, like a half a gallon of chocolate milk and a whole box of cereal, and that's his breakfast and shit like that, right? And he's like, just works for me. And they're like, oh, you shouldn't be doing that. But bro, what were we doing at 21? Right? So
that's him. Okay.
Right. So the point is, would you know who he is without YouTube?
No.
Because he would have got second at the New York Pro.
And that's not.
And they wouldn't have talked about it anymore.
Nope.
Right? Because you get your top 5 at the Olympia, top 3 might get talked about, but they stop talking about 4th and 5th real soon afterwards, right? So you're only hearing what's relevant for the magazines want to put out.
Right.
Now you put your own shit out, and if you're good enough at it, everybody sees it.
Everybody gonna know who you are quickly.
Exactly. I love the time we're in. And then if you compete, awesome. People got something to follow and aspire to watch, right? Like, you're putting this journey up. But it's not like it used to be where the magazine decides who's going to be important. I love it. I love the time we're in because I used to look at MD, who just closed, you know, like Muscle Development. I lost that show. The contract they had on the table for me just went away just like that. Just like that. I lose that show when I have the influence I had back then. I don't lose that contract.
Right.
Because all those people are still there.
Exactly.
Now it's about, okay, well, how's Fred going to come back?
I ain't followed you guys. Right.
Exactly, right? Like, there's people who are still going to follow. Yeah, and I've seen MD screw tons of people over the years. Tons, not pay him. Yeah, Cedric never got paid. Like, he got paid, but he didn't consistently get paid. You know, and that's one of the reasons why he left him. And a number of pros got shafted by them. Steve Blackman. But the magazine was the first magazine to really dive into what bodybuilders really do. Really do. Now they're gone, or they're closed. But I mean, that magazine used to be great. Like, you
still love it.
Everybody looked forward to reading Muscle Development. And I'm not gonna lie, I was praying hard that I could get a contract from them to be one of their columns, because it was a big deal to be in their column. They had overtaken Flex as the true authority in bodybuilding.
Wow.
Like, Flex was like, would you go to see like all the best photo shoots maybe? But it wasn't where you were getting your information, because all that shit was just generic.
Flush. Right.
Yeah, like the information in Muscle Development, that was like the nitty gritty, man. That's where we got everything from. Dave Palumbo was in it.
That's right.
John Romano. All the cutting edge people that that were like getting ousted by the mainstream was in MD. And remember, like, did you pick up MD back then?
I didn't. I used to get corny shit, Muscle Magazine and dumb shit like that.
Right.
Yeah.
Bro, you couldn't even feel decent about looking at that in front of your mom. You'd be like...
I know. You're like...
Yeah. They had the most risque...
You did.
Oh my God,
Photo
the most
shoots
risque photo shoots in there. Oh, you've ever seen. I mean, they were damn near naked, in the magazine, you're going, oh my God. Like, I remember picking it up and I felt like I had porn on my coffee table.
Nice. It was pretty
it was crazy.
Back then. Yeah.
Yeah, it was like almost like it was just, remember the magazine Maxim?
Of course.
Is that still around?
I don't know.
I don't think it's around.
No.
But magazines are worth it.
We used to have Maxim parties, remember?
I don't.
You don't remember that? Oh, we used to have Maxim parties in Delaware that were with the liquor distributor.
Nice.
Really?
They'd sponsor it, yeah.
Nice.
So yeah.
I know nothing about that. Tell me more.
I got away with everything. I'm not saying anything. No, I'm just I didn't do anything. Nothing.
I did. Look. No, but yeah, it was it's definitely a great run of shows, and I can't believe MD is closed now. That's crazy.
Yeah.
But so everything's turning anew. So what else you got for me?
I got a question. I was driving here. I'm thinking. I do that sometimes. Where do you draw the line of reality and visions of grandeur? As far as your clients.
Oh, like when you say to them,
When they don't.
you can't.
Well,
versus-
I'm not saying I never tell them you can't do something, but let's just get to A, B, and C.
It ain't
first.
realistic. It ain't realistic for you to be thinking about the pro card when you haven't won the Delaware yet.
Correct.
Yeah. Go.
Where do you find
I
yourself
don't-
leading them to?
So, different than Fred's clients, my clients are lifestyle clients, right?
Right.
So, the first thing I want to know is, why can't I lose 50 pounds in 3 weeks? That's the first thing I want to know. And my answer is always the same, because it didn't take you 3 weeks to gain 50 pounds.
Yeah, it's not healthy, right?
Right? Well, I don't care what you saw.
Right.
The first thing you need to do is turn off your internet. Because if you want me to train you and get you there, it needs to be exactly what Walter says.
Right.
I can't control everybody else. I don't know what their processes are, and I'm not saying that they're wrong or they're bad.
Right.
I'm just saying it's not what I do.
There's way more than one way to get there.
Exactly. And that's how I approach it. It's the reality. I give them a real hard, fast, sometimes gentle dose of reality. It's like, I had one client who struggled getting past 140 to drop weight because she's only 5 feet tall.
Mm-hmm.
So she would be closer to 120, 110, and I was like, listen, what's wrong with your lifestyle? So we go through a meal plan, eating everything right. And to find out, she smokes weed and drinks every weekend. I'm like, ma'am, this is what's stopping you. What do you mean? I said, listen, if you want to hit your goals, shit's got to change.
Yeah.
Well, why? Because your body treats alcohol like poison. That's why. And weed slows your metabolism down. And those two things combined is going to stop the nutrients in your food from being able to get digested, and it's just going to sit in your belly, and you're going to keep the same weight. So if you want to lose weight,
Stop that.
cut that shit out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And and then the other side of that is it's the other person who, I'm doing everything right. No, you're not.
No.
Because if you were, you
You'd look
would
different.
be losing weight.
Yeah.
You'd be losing 2 pounds every single week. The math is the math. It's 3,500 calories in a pound. I don't care where you are. If you're in Jamaica, if you're in Italy, if you're in Sweden, if you're in America, it don't matter where you are.
The body doesn't lie.
Yeah, right. So if you're not,
We do.
right, all the time,
Right.
right. So what do you mean, Walter? I only went to here one time. I said, listen, if I have you in a 300 calorie day deficit, times 7 days a week, that's 2,100 calories. That plus your exercise equals 1.5 pounds, 2 pounds a week. But if you go to Cheesecake Factory for one meal, you just pissed it all away. How do you figure? Well, your appetizer is 500 calories. 2 glasses of champagne, another 500 calories.
Champagne.
Just use that as an example.
Okay.
They're women. The meal, 1,000 calories. So we're at 2,000 calories. So now we just blew past all the work. We didn't talk about the bread you ate when it first came out.
Yeah.
We didn't talk about the cheesecake you got 1,800 calories. That's just the 2 appetizers, the champagne, and freaking. So you pissing it all away in one shot. And when I break it down to them like that, then they look at it as, oh, well, I guess I can't do it anymore. It's not about can't. It's about let's get to your goal first. Hit your goal, and then 60%. That's all it takes. Mm-hmm. Once you're at your goal, to maintain, it takes 60%. That's all. But you got to get there first.
Right.
So that's
No
a
cheating.
civilian. how do you approach
bodybuilder?
a competitor that swears they got screwed,
Right.
or the judges it's political,
Right.
or all these other excuses come in? What do you?
Well, what I tell people is this. There are general bias whenever a judge is judging. And there is a point where, if you're close with somebody that know, you're probably not going to win.
Right.
But that's not because it's this big political machine. It's because people are human. And it's like, if I'm judging you and I trained you, or I know you at the gym all the time, and you look really good up there, I'm noticing how good you look, and I probably see it as you winning. Just like the coach sees how much better their client is improved, so they see them winning.
Perspective.
Okay?
Yeah, okay.
So that's one. Number two, if you're fucking lights out, the best up there, they will pick you every single time. I've never seen any different. Like, I've seen it close. I've seen it where I can say, my guy is harder, or my girl is more conditioned. And they'll go, well, the shape matters. And then I've seen it where I'm like, he had the best shape on stage.
Yep.
I've never seen it where the person has the best shape and the best conditioning and they lose. I've seen it where they have one or the other and they lose, but never both, and they lose. So the idea is, as a coach, I'm just trying to bring you so lights out that there's no question. And if you do lose, like for instance, when Bill went up there this last time, right? Okay, he did the Easterns, 20-something guys in his class. He's top 5. When he called me, I didn't even need to see the pictures to be excited about it because I know we still have weaknesses in our arsenal. So I don't need to see the rest of the guys. What I need to see is your stage shots so I can see how you presented on stage and how you showed up. But I already know going up, could your hamstrings be bigger? Yes. Could they have been a little drier? Or not drier, leaner? Yes. But I also know how much we killed you to get what we had. And now I got to go, do we continue to kill you to get the hamstrings and lose what we do have that's good? Right? Because there's a lot of guys up there at that level that the hamstrings will be tight, but they won't be sliced.
Gotcha.
Right? So that's one. Now, as far as how do I tame somebody's expectations, you haven't done a show and you're talking about I want to be a pro. Well, you don't even know what it's like to go through the vigorous prep. You don't even know what you're going to feel like mentally. Like a guy comes and goes, I want to do 3 shows next year. You haven't done one. Let's do one. And with the idea we're going to do 3, but let's do 1 first, right? Or the person that says, I know I can be a pro. Well, okay. First of all, what you see in the magazines is not really what it is. The detail that's there in person, the way it moves and the way the vascularly comes through, you don't see none of that shit because what you saw on the Olympia feed was not what those guys look like.
Nope.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, that tells you how freaky they really are. So, I mean, like, the level of detail when you're shredded doesn't come through. That's why guys that sometimes look a little softer, people be like, oh man, he's so much bigger and better shaped. No, that's just what you're seeing from perception. But if you were up apples to apples like the judges are, it might look a little different. So, but to stay on track, I think most people just have to understand that you don't drive your car for the first time at 16 and say, I want to be a NASCAR driver. That's not how it works.
Nope.
It's all a progression. And what's happened is the social media has created a level of impatience and unrealistic expectation.
Absolutely.
Because you name me one guy who pushed drugs super, super hard in the beginning and had a long career. You can't name one.
Nope.
Can't name one. Jay Cutler. A lot of food, a lot of hard work, a big-ass kid even when he was 16 years old, right? Ronnie Coleman. He was a damn freak before he even touched anything.
Yeah.
Right? And look at Derek. Derek was awesome as an amateur, even when he wasn't that big, right? So, hey, this has just been a progression every year. Hottie, we don't know what he was because, I don't know.
I ran.
We don't know him. But who got third this year? Samson. Look how much Samson's come back. But
to 150 pounds in 7 years or 8 years.
But he ain't running he's not young. He's in his 30s.
31, right?
And he's with Milos, and we all know Milos is not about the anabolics as much as he's about the insulin. So, you know, and he apparently what he's doing isn't that detrimental because he's fine and everybody's been working with him been fine. The only coach out there that's had some like questionable things with his athletes are who?
I was going to say his name.
Who?
Chad?
Yeah.
I've heard rumors. I don't know for sure.
And look,
we don't know 100%.
I don't know 100%. I like Chad a lot as a person, so I'm not going to out him like that. But what I will say is, I hear that his approaches are very, very aggressive. Now, what he was doing 10 years ago might not be what he's doing now.
It's true.
But what I can say is, the only person that I know of, like I've seen it, like because me, Kai, and Dex all had the same coach. Our stuff is so minimal, it's ridiculous compared to what some of the other guys are doing. And because if you have the genetics for this, you don't need a lot. If you have and that's what people don't understand. Like these guys are running all this shit, trying to be there, fast forward everything to make it to what should be a 5-year progression into a 1-year progression, and they end up burning themselves out.
Oh, 100%. You see it all the time. You see it in your local gyms. You see it everywhere.
All the time.
Oh, take this one, take this one, take this. Like, well, bro, like, look.
Yeah.
What you're taking is like 3 times as much as I've ever taken. Like, if you're gonna be, and here's what people gotta understand: if you're really gonna be a good pro, then even before you took anything, people could see that potential. Right? Like, what do you have that stands out? Like, are your arms bigger than everybody else's just naturally, whether you train or not? Right? Okay. like, do people automatically assume you're a bodybuilder?
Yeah.
Whether you're dieting or not? Like, these things, it's not a coincidence that the genetics are a huge part in this game.
I think society too. Also, this generation coming up. Everybody talks about the other generation, but this generation especially, impatient, want it all now, and compare themselves to.
Yes.
They're looking at this guy that's been killing himself for 15 years.
Yeah.
Every day for 15 years working, and you're going to turn around and do it in 3 months.
Bro, I'm telling you,
it's not going to happen.
I had one young guy to break him down, and say, listen, you're 5'9", 290 pounds. You are not a professional bodybuilder. You ain't even a professional powerlifter. You're barely repping 295 and 265, let alone moving heavy weight. Right. So slow down, calm down, eat less, move more. Let's start there. I mean, it's the truth. Listen, bro, everybody, I'm a powerlifter. No, you're not. I want to bulk. No, you're not. Bruh. It's like like you said, it's everybody wants that ready-mix shit. Yeah. It's this. Listen, I am not in the best shape, but I'm still 45 years old, and I've yet to meet somebody natty who's gonna smoke me in the gym.
Right.
That person don't exist. So it's one of those things where it's the time and attention. It's everything. It's the time and attention. It's are you willing to do what it takes every single time, every single set, every meal, everything. Look,
and here's the other thing. Stop believing there's a magic formula when it comes to training. Stop.
Magic exercise.
Heavy weight for in a controlled fashion.
Exactly.
For an extended amount of time will get you muscle.
Facts.
But to think that there's a certain angle or shit, like, come on.
No.
Come on, dude. Like, if there was, then the guys today would be more impressive than the guys before, and they're not.
Exactly.
They were impressive then, they're impressive now.
Bingo.
Before I tore my pec, I was considered having one of the best chests in IFBB, right? And anybody competed. I mean, Sean Roden, Phil Heath, Kai Green, all used to walk up to me and go, your chest looks awesome. Like, what do you do? You know what? That was I trained really hard, I trained really heavy, and I trained consistently, and I had the genetics to support it. That's it. And the thing is, like, there's not a specific angle, because if there was, then there would be something we haven't seen before going, holy shit, what did you do? But you look at the IFBB pros today, and how do they train? Very few are doing this angle and that angle and this way. Like, they're not doing that. They're training hard as shit, and they're training with a lot of weight. Like, we saw Derek's video, the man did 6 plates on each side of the hammer iso row for 15 reps. And you got people out here talking about you shouldn't do more than 8. What? Like, you do what your body needs to do.
To
like,
stimulate the growth.
If you did 8 last week, then it might be a good idea to do maybe 10 or 12 this week. And if you, oh my God, if I got stronger and I could do it, then I'm gonna do 15 the week after. Like there's nothing wrong with that. It's about pushing the level of intensity to where you're completely uncomfortable. Not saying hurt yourself. Completely uncomfortable. You don't look forward to going there. People are like, oh man, I love to train. Because you're not really training.
Nope, you're working out.
You're working out.
out.
Like when you're really training, yes, you enjoy the burn. You enjoy that level of tension. You enjoy being broken down because I love the pain of that. But I don't necessarily like the training.
Sit down.
I love the result.
Right.
I love the result.
I don't like not being able to sit down.
I love going in the gym and training when I can bullshit.
Right.
I love that. But when I'm training for real, I'm nervous before I go in.
Run.
You're like, oh my God. We should do our leg day.
Yeah.
We going in the next day, like how many days we got left? Like 2 more days of rest.
I know.
Right. The night before, you're like,
I'm nervous.
I gotta do legs tomorrow. I don't know if I'm gonna do it.
Yeah, people would say to me all the time, why are you nervous? Because I know I'm gonna go in there and kill myself. I know I'm gonna go in there and try and push the next level. You know, like one of my good clients, she's a pro, she says all the time, it sucks training with you during prep because I know you'll put yourself through hell during prep as well. So I know you're gonna put me through hell. And then I had a bodybuilder come up to me and go, I wanted to switch to this trainer and train because when I train with you, I'm exhausted halfway through the workout.
That's the idea.
What the fuck? That's why your ass is 240 and not 270. Because of that attitude mentality right there. like that mentality, just like, when he said that to me, I literally just looked at him and said, yeah, you with the wrong one. Go with that coach over there. Because if that's what they're preaching to you, they're going to be the same place they've been.
Bingo.
Or they're going to be that guy that turned pro ain't do shit with it.
That's it.
So, what? I couldn't believe he said it. I was like, oh my God. And you really saying that with a straight face and looking at me in the eye and going, really? Okay.
You want all the reward without any of the work. Yeah,
you're talking to a guy who turned pro at 215 and did pro shows at 240 on stage, right? Harder than when he was at 215. You do know you're talking to me.
Right.
I can tell you how to get there. What? I'm not that guy that's talking about, old school training, but I ain't never done shit with it.
Exactly.
Right.
I'm an old, you guys don't know what it's like. Well, you didn't do it either, so.
That part.
No,
is that true?
Oh my God. Yes, you know what I'm talking about.
I do.
Shit, talking about, I've read 110 books, but I'm a permanent amateur. Like, what? What?
I know what you're talking about.
Oh my
I'm pretty
God.
confident I know what you're talking about.
I've had guys come up to the gym at TSI. I'm doing my seated lateral or my front raises. He's like, he's about 140 pounds.
Yeah, exactly.
If you get some bigger shoulders, you would do that. I'm like, okay.
Thank you.
I appreciate that.
They told me
I
should do more dumbbells. I'm repping 315. Dog, you can barely push up 185.
Exactly.
Spot your 185. No, come rep with us 315. Then come talk about dumbbells.
People are like, you tore your pec. That's it. I told you bench press is a bad exercise. Now look, here's the deal. I tore my pec because I was training angry and being irresponsible. I knew I should not have been pushing heavyweight that day, but my ego got in the way, and my anger got in the way. But I knew it should have been a speed day, because your tendons can only take so much, and just like the muscle, it takes time to recover.
That's right.
The tendons take a little longer. So just because you're not sore doesn't mean your tendons are ready to pound like that every single workout. I had just done 570 for 2 reps. I had no business going in the very next week and trying a max out of 585.
Right.
Shouldn't have done it. I knew everything in me should have been 5 sets of 3 or 355 that day. That's what it should have been. But I did my first set of 3 and I was like, this is fucking easy. I think this is the day.
It was the day.
It was the day.
Sure was.
Rip, now the chest looked all fucked up. You know what I'm saying? But if I was doing what I knew I should have been doing, I would have been fine. Because I benched for over 30 years, no problem. And then it wasn't like I was that guy in the gym that's like, oh shit, I did 225 and it popped. you also have to do what? You have to do your stuff we talked about last week. You got to do your massage. You got to do your active recovery. You got to do all the stuff to keep the muscles more pliable and more. What's the word I'm looking for? But let's just say not quite as stiff and hard and non-flexible, right? You got to keep them more pliable,
malleable, right?
Right. So the thing is, the secret is hard work and consistency. That's the secret.
That's it.
That's it. I mean, because like people, like you see some of the people and they're like, how does that work when they train? Because they just like, I mean, Branch Warren and Johnny Jackson had the worst technique ever.
Oh, yeah.
But what they had was consistency and they worked
heavy
really
ass
hard.
weight.
Intensity too.
Right. And consequently, Branch has some of the best legs and Johnny had one of the best backs to ever do it.
Yep.
So, could they have been better? Sure. But did they look fucking great? Yes. And you got a guy who doesn't look like they got out of the starting block that's trying to tell you how to do it. And that's just crazy to me.
Yeah.
What do you think about guys who do their amateur show and approach show the next day? Do you think that's ideal?
Well, I mean, my man
I know he did it, but because it's only a handful of shows you can do that, right? It's got like an Arnold.
So a handful of people can do that.
Yeah, I mean, like my first Toronto Pro when I beat Ian Valliere, but he got fifth. He did it, and so he was formidable. And what's the guy? Josh Nardowitz out of Australia. When we did the Australian Pro, he had turned pro the day before, and he placed behind me. But I mean, he was up there in a pro show. So I just think it depends on. I wouldn't be a bantamweight turning pro and do it. And are you truly developed? It depends on what your
classic show, amateur on Friday and pro on Saturday.
I think classic could do it because it's weight classes, right?
Right.
Like
Exactly.
it's not like you're jumping out of a weight class light heavy and going into an open bodybuilding show
Right.
where there's no weight limit. Like classic, if you're top of your class and in terms of the weight restriction, and you're jumping over and you're still within range in that weight restriction,
10 pounds, right?
and symmetrically you're good. I think it's something that's. I mean, what's the downside to it?
None.
There's none. Yeah, there's none. I think it's only a win. Like the only thing that happened is something that happened to Rubio like this past weekend where he got third.
Yeah.
Now people are like, holy shit! Like what they would have been saying to him is, he's got potential, but now they can't say that now
because
look, he's standing up there with two Olympians and a guy that's won more pro shows than anybody currently competing now.
10, 11 pro shows.
And he beat him.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you can't say anything except when he fills that part of his frame, how good is he going to be, right? I say he's not going to be Mr. Olympia because he doesn't have perfect structure, right? And if you look at everybody at the top, there's typically some gifts there, right? Like in terms of structure.
I just think
right? Like
who gets left out though. I think Brandon gets left out. I mean, he looked for being in the hospital.
I think you got to give that man his flowers, right?
I'm telling you,
he did.
No one talks anything about him, and I thought he looked phenomenal.
I mean, I heard some people giving him props, like Ernst Messel was giving him his props, and
good.
And MD when they did their feed, they looked like they was on a. Their feed looked crazy. But did you see their feed? It was terrible. It's like all staticky, not clear. Looked like everybody else was on 1080. They were still on what was before 720, Elmo? What was before 720 in resolution? Like that, it's 1080.
Rabbit ears.
4K.
Look at rabbit ears.
Right.
4K, 1080, 720, 480.
Yeah, they look like they was on that 480 right there because it was all unclear.
Cell phone, bro.
What?
It was a cell phone. It was a cell phone.
Man, look, I've seen cell phones that way more clarity than that. It didn't even look like it looked like a flip phone. So, but they didn't say many positive things. But I know that a lot of people at Arx Muscle were saying a lot of positive things about him.
He did good. I'm gonna give him his.
I mean, he was definitely downsized because you can't eat for 20 hours. I mean, how are you going to be full throttle? But he looked great, man. He looked. I mean, God, you got to give it to him. He looked great and.
Especially for
beat Andrew Jack. I mean, shit. You beat Andrew Jack, you're doing something.
Especially if you don't eat for 20 hours.
Yeah. So imagine what he might have looked like. I thought Brandon Could have won it because if he was full throttle and on point, because he has the shape to contend with Derek, and he has the fullness to contend with Hadi, and so it's just a matter of could he come in that conditioning that year that he took second to Ramy, where everybody was like, if he had came in fuller this year, they thought they would have beat him. I thought he did beat Ramy that second year, that Ramy defended his title. So
He says
Phil
that
Heath
he
was
runs
in that
size.
year. That's why he didn't win.
What's that?
That's why Ramy won, because Phil Heath was in that year. That fucked up the whole flow.
maybe, yeah. Yeah, Phil got third that year.
Third that year. That fucked up the whole flow.
Yeah, I mean, that's saying something. Brandon beat Phil, right? So they're like, well, he's at this, but I mean,
So win's a win.
The wins.
I just think that I think it's about who you stand next to, right? And I think it's about what the judges believe in their mind,
Sure.
right? Because if I believe this guy is going to be incredible and untouchable, then when I come out there, that's the window I'm looking through when I judge him. Now he has to disprove that theory, right? But if I know, man, this guy lost last week, Aaron Banks, right? By putting that title on the line, well, maybe he's not as good.
That's
Let's see
what I
what
thought.
he's got.
I thought it was a fool's errand for him to go do that show.
Yeah.
You know, and I get it. The prize money was $35,000, but
I think the psychology of a judge is huge. Man.
absolutely,
The psychology-
positively.
Yeah.
Do you think it's swayed by social media?
I think it can be. I mean, how can it not? It's human. Like
Aye.
here's the thing, right? If I'm looking at, I'm not saying that you can show up looking bad or even not great and win based on social media, but I am saying that if I'm looking at the Olympia this year and I got a guy who can't speak a lick of English, who I don't see all year in my country, right? Now, believe me, he's influencing millions of people in the Middle East, right? And in his country, he's doing amazing things for sport. They got statues of him and all types of shit. So obviously, he's influencing bodybuilding there. But where the corporations that I want to sponsor my event
Right.
are predominantly where?
Here.
Right here.
So now I got a guy who doesn't speak any English, and we don't see him all year. And he might not be able to get in the country every year. So is that weighing in there? Is like we're looking at it and going first, second, third? No. But in the back of your mind, you know it. So now I got this American kid
Who's more marketable?
who's incredibly marketable.
And I would hate him if he wasn't so fucking nice.
The good Lord,
Bruh.
that man speaks his story about the Lord every time, and everybody knows the world needs more of that right now because we woo.
He is.
There's not a whole lot of there's not a whole lot of good when you look at TV, and there's a lot of good out there, but it's not pushed, right? It's not publicized. So now you're looking at this kid, all American, white guy, right? Like it's been a while, and
I know.
they ain't had one in a minute, right? And
It's Jay Cutler.
and right, so now you take that into account, and his physique's great. Okay, so
It's a no-brainer.
who we picking? Who we picking right now? I still say though, if Samson is peeled to the bone and matches their conditioning,
It's lights out.
I'm telling you, they're giving him.
I just think it's hard for when you look. Your eyes always go to a bigger guy. And if he's in the same kind of conditioning with shape,
he's gonna win.
He's gonna win. He should win.
I think he's gonna win.
Should have won this year.
No,
I just think I think it's
You
it's
can't
harder for
pick
bigger guys.
Derek. You can't pick Derek to win over Hadi and not pick Samson over Derek. It just doesn't make any sense to me.
It absolutely makes sense. The only person that had a slam dunk shot in the contest was Derek. He turned to the back. There was no denying he smoked everybody in that back double bicep. Smoked everybody.
So who smoked Samson in the most muscular?
Hottie?
No, he didn't.
Yes, he did.
No, he did not.
Bro, bring it up.
It
Hottie's
is
arms,
a muscle show. Who had the most fucking muscles?
pound for pound. You could argue Hottie had as much muscle as Samson.
300 pounds is
300
300 pounds is 300 pounds, bro.
No, it's not. How you gonna, your 250 gonna look a lot different than my 250 because you're taller than me.
300 pounds. That's 300.
How much is Hottie weigh? Do you know?
215 on stage, bro.
Definitely did not weigh 215. I know what 215. He
Okay,
did not-
230.
No,
That's closer. Probably closer.
Okay, 230.
235, probably 230.
It's not 300 pounds.
5'4".
He's like 5'3".
At 300 pounds and 300 pounds.
I'd rather go for the bigger guy, but
10 pounds
again,
an inch, bro. 10 pounds an inch. That's 70 pounds. 70 pounds on top of on Hottie is what? 300 pounds.
And he ain't gonna be 300 pounds on stage.
But he
Illusion.
the illusion and dimensions, like Derek looks smaller than Samson. But it can't be about size though.
Samson should have stepped that same fucking 10 feet ahead of the line, just like they did.
It wouldn't have
made
mattered.
him and put him in his shadow.
It wouldn't have
It'd have
mattered.
changed the whole show.
It wouldn't have mattered because his ass was jiggling compared to them. It wasn't, but in comparative, it was. Because the thing is, his muscularity did not match theirs.
And what did Milo say? He said, "This is not a glute show.
Okay.
This is a muscle show."
All right, well, the level of striations that Hottie carried from certain angles, Samson wasn't carrying.
Okay. Other than Ronnie Coleman, how many guys, black men that's won the show, had shredded glutes?
Sean Roden,
Shredded glutes like
Phil
that.
Heath,
Phil Heath.
peeled. I'm telling you, bro. If I'm gonna put it like this, if Hottie had Samson, Samson would be Mr. Olympia. I think Samson is amazing and an amazing bodybuilder. But even when I saw him in the other shows, I was like, he's not dominating the way Ronnie Coleman dominated. So that tells me he needs a little bit more size.
He just needs time.
He's a little more time. He's going to be Mr. I don't see, barring injury, there's no reason why he wouldn't be Mr. Olympia.
Well, he about to do another Arnold and another Arnold.
Is he really doing Arnold?
Both of them.
I think that's a mistake.
Why?
Because he's big, bro. Like he's not going to get, if he,
Okay,
he
so
didn't
Nick's-
he didn't lose because he wasn't just not conditioned enough. You could see that, now I do believe if he was in better condition, he would have been Mr. Olympia. But I also believe he's still not better than those guys from the back yet.
So those guys ain't competing at
Right.
the Arnold for $250,000.
300.
It's $250,000 for the Arnold.
Okay, but here's the thing.
What's the but? It's $250,000.
Okay,
and the following week is $150.
What you're missing is, do you know what he's doing to
Yes.
look like that?
Yes. I'm 100% confident.
Okay.
I get that
When
part.
is the break?
I get that part. The break is going to be from now until January, and he's going to go win it again. Because Nick's not doing it, and there's no other major competitors going to do it.
I hear what you're saying.
Well, he's going to do the Arnold this coming
In
up.
March.
Yeah.
Again, where's the break? Like, this is the thing.
He's time to rest.
I'm sure those promoters are calling him and saying, get it while it's hot. Get it now. You're this, you're that. But at what expense? Like, I guarantee you his blood work is not looking great right now after all this competing. That is so much stress on your body, so much gear. So, I mean, it's like you're not giving your body a break. Even if you tone it down to 50% for 2 to 3 weeks to allow your body to rest, you're still not going to give your body optimal chance to be healthy. And then on top of that, you're third in the world. So why not, if you're going to do the Arnold, why not why not ditch those $10,000 shows? You're already qualified.
Well, he promised he was going to do those. He committed to those shows before the Olympia.
Okay, you're third in the world.
I hear you. I get that
You
part.
call Jim Mann and you say, look, my health ain't that great. So, and now, mind you, they might be paying him a lot of money on the side too, right? And I get taking care of your family and I get it. I get all that.
His prize money was $420 this year. That's a lot of bread, bro.
I'm not saying it's not, but I'm saying I think he's probably getting a little extra on the side, right, to show up at those events, because I don't see him doing $10,000 shows if you already won $400,000.
For sure.
You said $20,000. Like, bro, he's gonna make more than that guest posing.
Yeah, for sure.
You know what I'm saying? Like literally, he could guest pose 4 shows overseas and make that. What he made in 3 weeks of grinding. You know, like that's.
I'm just saying that he's doing Arnold and he's gonna win it. He's gonna win it in the following Friday. He's gonna next following
Probably
weekend.
won't win it
He's
because-
gonna win that too. So he's winning $400,000 on those 2 Arnolds, and then cruise into the Olympia in next November.
It's not next November. It's in October next year.
Okay, next October.
This is
So-
Vegas.
Yes, it's amazing.
So think about that, right?
So it's from
hold on.
March.
Think about this. When is his improvement season? Like, if he gets done in March.
March 8th.
Okay,
which is the
March
second.
8th, right? All right. Let's just say he's not over 40. So he still wants his body to work normally, right? Hopefully. So let's just say he takes a month off everything to allow himself to start to get healthy. Another month to start gearing back up again, right? That's 2 months. Now we are in where? April. No, we're in May. We're in May.
April, May.
We're in May. If the Olympia is in October,
24 weeks.
for that really to get peeled and dialed in,
Okay, 20
maybe,
weeks.
maybe three. Maybe
Okay.
3, right?
20 weeks.
Where's the growing part?
But you need to have more mass?
Maybe he doesn't need no mental time down. Maybe he doesn't need that mental time. But what I can tell you is, he ain't gonna jump the way Derek jumped this year.
Derek didn't jump. Derek was 2-1. Oh, you mean size-wise?
Size-wise,
He
yeah.
was-
Derek was struggling making 212, so that was already.
But
that was already
my point is, he made major strides in his legs. This
He
year.
did.
Agreed.
Major.
And it's back to the whole deal. But Derek was also struggling to make the way to 212.
What I'm saying is that time is what allowed him to make those strides.
Okay.
I think if Samson's going to beat him after taking a year off again, I don't see the reason why he would do all these shows after. I agree, do the Arnold, because he would have had a small break. Then he could have went into after the Arnold. We can go right into our off season because we can take advantage of the rebound. You can't take advantage of the rebound coming off a show if you've never taken any break off the drugs. It's too dangerous. Unless you don't give a shit. It's just like,
I've never taken the drugs, so I don't know all that.
I mean,
part of
it's
the
just
business,
crazy,
so.
bro. Like, I don't know. I mean, I guess, I know Milos was like, you compete. But Milos was never on that level.
Nope.
He was never more than like, I think his best was 10th at the Olympia. Maybe. I don't even know that he placed top 10 at the Olympia. He was known as,
did.
yeah, was he?
10th. I
Yeah.
think.
He was a great aesthetic physique.
No arms. Well,
No, he
Comparatively
didn't-
speaking,
no, he didn't
no.
have any arms. Everyone
Comparative.
He was aesthetic.
yeah.
Right.
He was aesthetic, had the best abs in the game.
He did.
You know, was never known for his size though, right?
Pretty
now
much
he's
so.
coaching somebody who's got major size, and he's telling him to compete like that. That's hard, bro.
Right.
Because Samson's not as big in this last show as he was in the first show.
Correct.
Not even close.
Correct.
Looked like he was about 7 to 10 pounds smaller.
Really.
But he looked great. Looked great. But my point is, he's not trying to beat Michael Crizzo.
No.
He's trying to beat Derek.
Right.
I think he needs some rest, but that's my take.
Still my guy.
Hey, I respect all of them.
We all have our favorites.
My best at the Olympia is 12th. I respect all the guys in the top 10. So, this is not me throwing shade. We're talking about what's on stage. We're not talking
Right.
about the respect we have for all these guys, because all these guys are doing
What,
4 to 6 years
Yeah.
consistently. Like Derek has been grinding since 2018,
Samson too.
right?
Seven-
When he
seven,
turned pro.
yeah.
That's how many years? Going on 6 years right now, right? 6 years
About 6 years. Yeah.
of consistent hard work, grinding in the gym. I've been watching Nick 100% killing it since 2000 definitely 2018.
I was gonna say 18.
That's when we saw him in the gym for the first time.
Yeah.
Dude, I've been watching this kid kill it. And I watched him get disappointed. And I watched him come back the next year and win.
Yep.
Like, he has not slowed down. And you got motherfuckers that be like, I was 3 weeks on my diet and I didn't lose enough. What? Shut up. Shut up. Like, what? Like, it's that effort, man. Like, can you grind like that? Like, and like grind. Like, I seen a kid today. It's like, he did a show this past weekend and he was in there powerlifting today. And I'm like, all right, not necessarily the best strategy,
Yeah, right.
but you have the right mindset. You have the right mindset. For the next 3 or 4 years, now we're talking. But yeah, so that consistency is everything, and no matter what we do.
That's right.
But
It's hard to be successful without that consistency. Or
telling
That's
just
the hard part.
Yeah.
People don't get.
yeah, we ain't got no timer today. How much long? How much?
10:06.
How much we been going? How much we done?
An hour now.
Yeah.
Yeah, we good. So I hope you guys liked our little discussion or little roundtable about what we think about these pro athletes. Ooh, yeah, there we go. The pro athletes, but you know, I think the thing to take from this is there's no magic pill out there. It's about consistency, hard work, and pushing yourself to do more, to be uncomfortable. Get in love with being uncomfortable. Fall in love with being hungry, whether it's the physical hunger of wanting to eat or the hunger of wanting to be better. Fall in love with that, and then that's going to be the key to constant improvement. So, you good?
I co-sign that 100%.
You good? All right. Well, we're going to see you next week. Please drop a comment, ask the questions below, like, subscribe to the channel, and so we can keep doing this for y'all. Peace.
Gotta love it.